letter starts with H, and they just go, Rich. Yeah.
Hi, my name is John Messina, and welcome to another edition of Hey Coach. We have a special show tonight. We're going to talk about the Treasure Coast Sports Commission's awards for the high school athletics, and we have four guests. On our first segment, we have Rick Hatcher from the Treasure Coast Sports Commission. Welcome, Rick.
Thank you.
And my good friend Mark Cowles, who I saw you a few hours ago at our baseball game from Martin County High School. Welcome.
Always good to be with you, John.
I know. Well, we'll debate that after last night. No, we had a great game with Jensen Beach last night. But anyhow, Rick, we want to talk about the sports awards because this is a special thing that the Sports Commission is doing. And we got a special project this year. So if you can give us a little bit of a rundown.
About 5 years ago, when Michael Stutsky was the athletic director with Sebastian River, got together with the area athletic directors to create the Sports Commission's Male and Female Scholar Athlete of the Year. We are continuing this in our fifth year, and we'll be doing this again at Sunrise Theater on Monday, April 30th. And this award recognizes the top, like I said, the male and female, no matter what sport, that exemplifies good character, great grades, a role model in the classroom as well as in the community as well.
And Mark, when the student athletes, as they get to the end of their high school career, how would they look forward to an event like this?
Well, it's our version of the ESPYs. You know, it's the Treasure Coast ESPYs, so it's really become a big deal for them to be invited, and it's really it's awesome handing in their envelope with the tickets when they get that, and they don't know exactly what they're getting or the award or whether or not they're going to win the overall student athlete award. But when they get that, it's really exciting for them. So kind of a combination ESPYs and Oscars.
And you really, what is the procedure that you choose the winners for each award?
Rick touched on it. You know, you're looking at the student athlete. The student comes first for a reason in high school sports. So it's got to be somebody who's exceeding as a student first. And, you know, it goes into the character, volunteer hours, and, of course, on-field performance.
I know for many years I was on the FHSA student athlete all-academic team. And over the years, the number that we had applying for these, you know, prestigious awards has dropped. And mainly, and you could speak about this, is that student athletes don't play too many different sports anymore.
Yeah, that's what's happened. And when we talked about it as the area athletic directors, one of the criterion originally was multiple sports. Well, we eliminated a huge chunk of our kids because a lot of them have specialized now. So what we do is we'll start looking at the grades first, and then we start going through some of the student athletes. And, you know, it's preferred if we can find some multiple sport athletes to represent this award. But it's very difficult right now because of the specialization.
I think, you know, when Dave Courier from West Boca and I were on this committee 20 years ago, we must have had 400 to 500 applications. Our last year we were down 150. It wasn't for the grades. It wasn't for the community service. They were not playing multiple sports. And that's a whole nother show that you and I can do one day on that. But Rick, let's talk about the Sunrise Theater. Let's talk about, this is the third award ceremony that you guys put out. Let's talk about the previous two and the Sunrise Theater.
Well, you know, in working with the TC Palm and Sunrise Theater 2 years ago, it was a special event. They brought in Jason Taylor, who preceded before his announcement to go into the NFL Hall of Fame. Last year, we were able to get Doug Flutie, who, for a lot of people don't realize, lives in the Melbourne Beach area, and we were able to get him to come down. And, you know, and this year we've got Aaron Guy, who's a news anchor at Channel 25 down in West Palm Beach. So it's, as what Mark's alluded to, we want to make this a special evening for the kids. It's all about the kids, and we get them there. We ask them, and you look at the character of the kind of kids that are coming. They come dressed up. You've got the ladies that are all dressed up. You've got the guys that have put on their best, and they have fun with each other, and so that's what it's about.
You know, the first year we covered it, and I thought kids were going to the prom. You know, that's the way to look, and it was an absolute fantastic night. Jason Taylor was wonderful. He talked to the kids, and it was like he was just getting back and talking to them. I thought it was just terrific.
It really was, and you get that, and it's such a long program to begin with because you got so many awards.
Right.
But yet, how do you tell a Jason Taylor or a Doug Flutie, hey, speed this up? Because they enjoy talking to the kids, and you can see in the kids' faces how much they were enthralled by what they had to say, and out there throwing footballs or Flutie Flakes, getting autographs last year. But it comes back to the tremendous support from the athletic directors that we get to allow us to do this.
Right. And Mark, how would you promote that in your school? How are you going to promote that in Martin County?
Oh, we've been promoting it. We have, we're blessed. We have social media, Facebook, Twitter. We have our own website, which I think popped up earlier or will eventually pop up there. And so we use that because that's what the kids, the kids are into, the social media use. And, you can make the announcements on the morning announcements. You can put it on your school TV, but you've got to use social media to reach these kids today.
Yeah.
Times have changed.
Very much.
Times have changed. I know, because this is so easy to get out now because this is what they want to do.
Yeah.
And a lot of awards events, geez, I got to go.
Yeah.
They want to go to this. I saw by their faces, and I think the first year we were interviewing them as they were coming in, and then they were so excited about going. Now this year, and we'll talk about this in the second part of our show today, we're going to talk about a tribute to a young lady who had a tragic accident. And Rick, explain what we're going to do as a fundraiser.
Well, as part of the story, the ongoing story is the tragic event that took place with Layne Chesney over the Christmas holidays. And for those that may not know, Layne was a starting shortstop at Lincoln Park Academy. She's also played club ball down in Jensen Beach, and they won the World Series last year with her playing. But these awards are recognizing the successes and the adventures coming up, and we felt like it was important to also recognize the really the events that are going to be coming up for Layne and her struggles that's going to be ahead of her, and we want to make sure we did our part. So we have dropped the attendance for the cost of a ticket down to $5 a person, and all proceeds for this year's event will go to the Layne Chesney Fund, and we'll be making that presentation that night. We were very fortunate to have some great sponsors to step up. The Ups Factory, we've got FP&L's back with us, you've got Nightingale Private Care, the Mets are back, and so that allows us then to make sure all the donations that go to the tickets will go towards the Layne Chesney Fund.
Now, if people outside the schools want to be able to get tickets, how would they be able to get tickets?
The best way to go about it, you can call the Sunrise Theater and you can order tickets through them, or purchase it and pick up the tickets there at the box office on the day of event, or you can go to the Treasure Coast Sports Commission website that's listed up on the screen, and we have information how people can purchase tickets. We know that when we shared this information with all the schools, we've already had 2 schools purchase additional tickets to support this, and just where they can have other folks there.
Right. And Mark, how many schools do we have involved in this?
I think we have 20 that are signed up for this right now.
That's terrific on that. Now, have you chosen at Martin County your 2 award winners yet?
Yes, we have. Yes, we have.
Did you announce it yet?
No, we'll disclose that night.
Okay, because I was going to let you have a sneak preview in here.
No, we're not going to give that away just yet. Sometimes when student athletes find out that maybe they're not up for an award, maybe they won't attend.
I know how to believe me. I know how that is.
Like I said, we'll be handing out the envelopes and handing out the awards. They know that something's going to happen. They don't know specifically yet. I like keeping a little bit of suspense with
Now,
the kids.
what are you going to go to their classrooms, or are you going to give them the envelopes in the classrooms?
We have so many kids that are dual enrollment. We kind of pick and choose when we can find them. Sometimes it's as they're walking in from the parking lot. It's like, come on over here. I got something for you. But if they're on campus, we pop into the classroom and give them their invites.
And we had a great year this year in the area in athletics. I know with Vero Beach's football and Martin County has had terrific sports. Which sports out of Martin County you think have excelled this year?
We had a great fall. And that's just been the tradition, whether it's been bowling, volleyball, swimming and diving year after year after year. We can count on their trophies being put into place. A little bit dip in the winter sports, which is unusual. And then, you know, we're having a great spring right now, but it's...
Yeah, I hope that
it's-
spring keeps up here. At least a few more weeks, you know, going through that. But I know you got a great tradition, and I know just helping out over in Martin County the last few years is the way your student athletes act on and off the field. It's a big thing. And for those people who haven't been involved in high school athletics in this area, you got to get out and see it. I mean, you know, the crowds that we can get at football games and basketball games, maybe it's not what it used to be. And I think one of the reasons is we have so many schools now. You know, I remember when I started at Port St. Lucie years ago, you know, when we played Central, when we played Martin County, we were packed. But now you add more and more schools. You know, Treasure Coast comes in, Jensen Beach comes in, and it's just kind of diversified a little bit. But maybe we can get back to promoting this. And I know this award ceremony, you know, it's the best of the best, but you know, I don't want to just single out the best. There's so many people out there that we do the right things the right way in high school sports. And you know, this is a way that you're going to have rivals come together for a great cause here, you know, and that's something that's outstanding, you know. But tell a little bit more about our guest speaker.
Aaron Guy, we're very fortunate. We knew that having the two athletes that we had with Jason Taylor and Doug Flutie, and we were really looking to bring a female speaker in. Danny Einstein, the athletic director over at Port St. Lucie High School, had recommended that we sit down with Aaron Guy. She is a four-year basketball player at Indiana University, Purdue University in Indianapolis.
You want to say that again real
Yeah.
quick? Okay.
But we thought it was great with her accolades that she's been able, and her being with some local ties here with Channel 25 down in West Palm Beach. So she was able to maneuver her schedule around and change some stuff to come in. At first she had a conflict, but once she found out a little bit more about the awards, what it meant to the kids and everything, she called us back and she says, you know what, I'm going to do this. And so we're very excited to have her on as our guest speaker that night.
And that's so great what the Sports Commission is doing, you know, with donating, you know, all the profits and all the, you know, the attendance money. That is absolutely terrific.
Well, you know, thank you. And we're very fortunate to have the sponsors to help us move forward with this and being able to, you know, justify, unfortunately, the tragic event, but to be able to contribute that. I know there's a lot of businesses and individuals in the community and in the Treasure Coast that's already contributed, but we feel like this is our best way to have her peers where they're getting recognized, but also they are all aware of her story as well.
Right, and our good friend Michael Stutsky's been involved in this at all, right?
Oh, well, you know, Michael is our new president for the Treasure Coast Sports Commission, and this has always been his baby. It's always been very near and dear to his heart. And, you know, and when we found out that TC Palm was not going to be aboard, we thought about it maybe 5 seconds of not doing it, but it meant too much to the kids and it meant too much to the schools. And with us being able to recognize, like Mark said, 20 schools, and that's not 20 public, that's 20 public and private schools. So whether you got Morningside Academy that might only have 3 sports and, you know, have 5 athletes there, to the Vero Beaches or the Martin counties that's going to have, you know, I don't know, I think the request for tickets there has exceeded 50.
Yeah.
So that's going to tell you the number of athletes that we're expecting to have. But we expect to have over 700 people at Sunrise, and we're excited about that.
But our time is gone. See how quick this goes?
It does.
Well, listen, I want to thank you guys. You're doing a wonderful job. You know, Rick and the Sports Commission, you should be commended. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, get working on that scouting report.
We're working on that scouting report. Thanks again, and we'll see everybody in another segment of Hey Coach.
Oh, look, a redhead.
Staring contest.
You still got it.
I know.
Come alive with the forest.
The dad was cute.
You were looking right at us.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Hi, I'm John Messina, and we're doing the second part of our show of Hey Coach, our special show today. And we have Jill Corey and Jill Willett. Jill Corey is the athletic director at Lincoln Park, and Jill Willett is our county athletic director in St. Lucie County. And I don't think my name's Jack, so we're in good shape here.
A lot of J's there.
A lot of J's going on. All right, before we start and get into the show, I got to say one thing. After being an athletic director for 30-something years and sitting out away, I don't know how you guys do the job anymore. I mean, with the eligibility and the transfers and the liability and all the rules changes, God bless you guys, you know? Because all I know is, I don't know how I lasted 30 years doing it. It has changed a lot, Jill, in the last few years.
Yes, it's changed a lot. I think we were just discussing just in the last couple of years, you almost have to be a lawyer to read all the rules that the state has for you. So, but it's a challenge, and it keeps things fresh, and it keeps us, on our toes, basically.
Yeah.
So.
I know we talked last time,
Yes.
Jill, about the transfers, and it just gets out of hand. It's nobody's fault, but the state opened up the door on this, and now people are looking, well, you know what? Let's get 3 kids together, and we're going to win a state title, and they took the academic part out of it. And with the liabilities and a lot of stuff about the medical situations, it's tough. It's a tough job, and I commend you guys for it. And I got to say, better you than me right now. So I could say, but today we're talking about something really special, and this is what I really love about high school athletics, that no matter, you could be rivals on the field, but we're all working for a common cause together, and it's going to be at the Sports Awards. Rick Hatcher was on doing the first show about the Sports Awards on April 30th at the Sunrise Theater. And Jill Corey, why don't you go into the whole situation with Layne, okay?
Okay. Layne is a freshman who has played varsity softball for us since she was a 6th grader. And she was severely burned in an accident at a bonfire at a friend's house over New Year's Eve. And she's still at a burn center down in Miami at the Kendall Burn Unit. But she is going to be transferred to the #1 burn unit in the United States in Atlanta. She's being moved there the first part of May. That way she can get the whole treatment. She can get the psychological and not only the burn treatment itself, but they treat the whole body. So that's very good for Layne. And we're in a unique situation since our students come from the entire county. Our kids know everybody, and everybody knows our kids. So the community support has just been phenomenal for Layne and her family. It's been very, very tough. I know a lot of the emotions that Layne is feeling right now as she's starting to remember that night, and it's very difficult for her. So any support that the community is giving for us, we greatly appreciate it. I would like to say that for April 30th and what the Sports Commission is doing for Layne with the donations going to her and her family, it is phenomenal, and they've reached out and asked that we have a donation table that evening too. So anyone that's coming could give donations if they would like, which is greatly appreciated also. And phenomenal young lady that Coach Roger Matthews said that she probably has more raw softball talent than he had ever seen in his 30 years of coaching softball, and that says a lot. So.
And then Roger's one of the most respected coaches that I know.
Yes.
But you know what I thought was really nice is that we didn't go, or you guys didn't go to the Sports Commission. They came to you.
Yes.
They brought this up. I mean, when
Yes.
they called me, a few months ago and said, how can you help publicize it? And I said, that was great. But Jill, isn't that terrific the way everybody's coming together? And
You already touched on it. I mean, yes, we're competitive on the field, but to just see how everybody's come together like this event was already great. In the 2 years they've done it, it's been top notch. But to add this to it just makes it all that more special. And I know at my school, I'm wearing the shirts that everybody was selling, and there was a lot of coworkers that either worked at LPA or knew somebody there, and everybody was donating. But even the people that don't know Layne, don't know, a lot of my coaches, they just know what it's like to have an athlete and care about them. So the turnout's been wonderful, and hopefully LPA is feeling that love, because at the end of the day, we are one team here.
it's a feel-good story.
It is.
It really is. And like we were talking in the first segment, that's like going to prom, the way these kids get dressed up, for the spank. I mean, the first year when Jason Taylor talked, it was just terrific. And I was telling Rick Hatcher that when I was down in Dade County, we used to do this every year, and it was tremendous. And one year we had, it's a funny story, we had George Steinbrenner as the guest speaker and everything. So I was sitting next to him when he was waiting for him to go up on stage. And if you know Mr. Steinbrenner, he's the most charitable person in the world. A little bit impatient, okay? So he's watching. Do you know what they did in Dade County is they brought up the 4 finalists on stage, and then they picked, they knew who won, and then he announced it in front of everybody. So I'm sitting next to Mr. Steinbrenner, and he's going, John, that one won. That one won. You know, the 10 people that went up before he left where I was sitting, he picked 9 of them. So I said, Mr. Steinbrenner, how did you pick them? The way they walked up and the way they handled themselves, I know a winner when I see a winner.
Wow.
But they had done that for years. They had Bobby Bowden speak and Mr. Steinbrenner speak. But it's just a great thing because we're recognizing everybody together. And this is something I always think down the road we can expand it a little bit, maybe even go into teams, which team. Because, Joe, a lot of times, and again, being from the outside, I'm being very truthful right now, it's not just our county, but Florida. It's football, and then it's football again, and then it's football again. And now I know it. I love high school football. But a lot of the other sports, don't you feel like sometimes we just don't have enough coverage for them?
Yes, I agree. But this night, it's about everybody.
It's about everybody.
And it's not just St. Lucie County. I want to make sure that I add in that it's all 4 counties that are supporting this great cause. So it's all of us together on this Treasure Coast. So it is a beautiful night for the kids. And my bowler won last year, and she was just so ecstatic to be there. And like you said, they don't always get the recognition that some of these bigger sports get. So it's wonderful to see.
I know without having football, you feel the same way on that.
Yes.
And
yes.
It's just something that's the way I feel, and I have said my piece in many different ways. That you wish you could. Okay, when it's not football season, let's get these other sports a little recognition because they work just as hard. But that's the national. That's the way it is in the nation now.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully they're not going to pass that 7-on-7 football in the spring, which could cut out, I was talking to Mark Cowles before, the athletic director for Martin County, was saying, wait a minute, we're going to put that in the spring. We got flag football, we got track, we got softball, they have lacrosse, we got baseball. Somebody's going to suffer down the road, but it's just the way it is. In a lot of counties, not in St. Lucie County, football supports, just about all your sports if you go. But, it's here and there. But again, this is a situation where, geez, that bowler goes on stage. He's getting the exact same award as the top football player's getting, and hopefully on that. But, I know Roger Matthews for many, many years as a coach. And if he said that about Layne, that's pretty high praise and everything,
Yes, it is.
And hopefully, one day we can get her back here healthy and maybe she can come to some of the games and everything down the road. But that's something we got to promote. And the speaker seems great and everything on that. And it's going to be so special for the kids. How are you promoting it in the schools?
In the schools.
In the schools.
The flyers have went out. We've gotten the information out to all of our faculty and staff. The flyers are going home with not going home with the kids, but we're sharing it with the students at school, so we can get the word out. Buying extra tickets so we hopefully can, fill the sunrise and have a lot of people in a lot of seats. And like Jill said, it's a wonderful, wonderful night for our athletes to see them all dressed up and out of their uniforms and up on stage. And it's a magical evening. Yes.
And if somebody outside the school system wants to buy a ticket or wants to get a ticket, what would be the best way for them to get a ticket?
Well, we
That's
put
a
it
good
in,
question.
Yes, we put it in our newsletter that I was going to have extra tickets at school, and I also put the website there that they could buy them that evening at the door, or they could go onto the website and they could order them also.
All right. Now, both of you have your student athletes. Have you picked them yet?
Yes.
Have you announced it to him yet?
No.
No.
Okay, that's good. Mark said the same thing.
That's happening tomorrow, I think, because we were just saying it's coming quickly.
Yes.
And I was going to say that's a great award, too, because those are usually students that don't always get the recognition and the accolades.
Let's explain that award a little
Okay.
bit, okay, if you can.
So the Treasure Coast Sports Commission gives out this Scholar Athlete Award, which basically is kind of up to the school to pick that student athlete that, yes, plays sports and excels on the fields and the courts, but they're also academically sound, they're at community service, they're involved in other activities at school, just that well-rounded kid that you're proud to have wearing your jersey.
He's not your best player all the time.
Not always the best player,
Right.
absolutely not, but just the most well-rounded student athlete.
And how are you going to announce it?
Well, I will say that my female does know because she is also being honored as the recipient of a scholarship for the Florida Dairy all academic, all state team in Gainesville.
Terrific. That's terrific.
So she already knows because I did tell her that. The male athlete I have not told yet, but he also will be finding out tomorrow. Yes.
I'm kind of trying to figure it out because last year I always announced it at our senior awards ceremony and then told them about this event, but they're kind of swapped this
They
year,
are.
so we're kind of trying to figure out how I want to time that out.
I would always, you know me, I'm a big ham sometimes. I would always go into their classroom, you know, talk to the teacher ahead of time. I'm going to go in there and I would point and say, you, stand up in front of everybody. And you know, you know what? And I'd hand them an award. So they get the award always in front of their friends and their peers. You know, you give it to them one-on-one. You know, there's nobody. But it's such a special night. And, you know, down the road, we got to really think about how we can even expand this a little more. I know there's a lot of conflicts, you know, this time of the year with graduation, prom, grad night, and, you know, certain sport districts or regionals coming down. So, you know, maybe the date could be moved up a few weeks so it doesn't run into all of these things. And I talked to Rick about that. But it's so great, and you got to be so proud, Jill, to see all your schools working together.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, not just St. Lucie County,
Yeah.
but the 4 counties, we
Yeah.
all work really well together, and it shows.
Yes,
Yeah.
it does. You know, we're rivals on the field, but this is a great. And also, explain the little, the jar that we're making, or you're making up for that.
Yes, yes.
That's the best for last.
Right.
There, right?
Michael Stutzky had
Yes.
wanted a life-size
Matt,
poster like
poster, right. Yeah,
of Layne,
isn't
but
it?
I didn't have a picture that had good resolution to do so. So
Okay.
I have had a 30 by 40 canvas made of Layne in her softball uniform
That is
that we
terrific.
will present to her mother afterwards.
Okay.
And then kids in our pottery class, actually I had the glove like he suggested,
Yeah.
and they were going to make
We're
the,
going to have a glove and have
the bank in it. Yeah, but they actually, in the pottery class, have now made the glove with the softball bank. So for the donations, if anyone wants to make a donation, we will have a table with a display of the canvas and
great.
that. So yeah.
Doesn't that make you feel good
Yes, it
about
does.
the student athletes that we have going into our, you know, adulthood coming up?
Exactly.
I mean, you know, you hear so many negative things left and right. This is a really good thing. And you know, just talking to people, you never had to ask anybody twice.
No.
You know, you asked them once and then just, they kept doing it. But I want to thank you guys. You see how fast the time goes?
I know, it flies.
It goes flies.
Yes.
And you know, believe me, I know what you guys are going through. You know, hang in there and do your best, and we're proud of you. And if you need anything from us, just let us know. But I want to thank everybody in another edition of Hey Coach.
Thank you.